Hey everybody, happy Tuesday, and since it's Tuesday, I'm on Tumblr. And I have 3 questions today, as well as a journal topic coming from my mother. Thanks, Mama. She's really helpful, and she gets she loves quotes too, just like moi. Or actually, I like them just like her, I guess, because, she's my mom. Yeah, so I have 3 questions. If any of you are new to my channel, welcome. And I do questions based on using the hashtag KatieFAQ. I search, I find them. I answered some already, so if you may have had a public question, I answer some of those, and private ones I always answer privately, so don't worry if you ask me a private question, I will answer privately, unless you say, you can post this. Otherwise, I don't. So, without further ado, question number 1. Is it possible to get different types of therapy in the same session? As in, what if you need DBT for BPD? It's a lot of acronyms, but if you wonder what those are, search for those on my channel. But if you also needed CBT or talk therapy for another issue, would you use the same therapist? And would you receive all the different types of therapy that you want/need in the same session? Or can you only work on one issue at a time? I thought this was a wonderful, wonderful question. It's a great question because there are many various answers. Now, first of all, if you see a therapist through insurance and you're not in the States, if it's something through socialized medicine, chances are you're getting CBT therapy because it's the only therapy that we actually can do research on and we can track the progress. It's short term. It's very cost efficient for insurances. So chances are you're going to get that. If you're in the States and you have the luxury of kind of picking the therapist that you want, ask the therapist what credentials they have or what therapies style they practice under. Most of us don't do just one thing. I would assume, or at least in the LA area and in California where I've studied/worked and had my experience, most people work from a lot of different types of therapy. Like I myself am a certified DBT therapist, but right now, because I'm setting up my own office, I don't have room for a group. So I have to refer my DBT clients out to a DBT group. And since there aren't many DBT groups, I don't do full-fledged DBT therapy anymore because we have to have a group. Am I right? But I still incorporate it into the way that I work with my clients. I also incorporate automatic thought records, which are part of CBT. I also do a lot of talk therapy. So depending on the issue, I work with you, and from the toolbox that I have from my training and learning and experience, I pull from it and I will use that in our therapy. So I use from a bunch of different types, and I'm assuming most therapists do the same, but you don't know until you ask. So before setting up an appointment, it's very fair, and I have many people ask, what type of therapy do you work from, or what type of therapy do you do, or however you want to verbalize it. We'll get back to you and let you know, because some people may be like, I only do CBT, or, we never know. So I would ask, but yes, you can find someone who does a lot of different types of therapy. However, in my experience, DBT therapists are not very many of us. We're a dying breed, or people just don't like to put in the time because it does take a lot of time. But anyway, so if you find someone who does DBT and you have borderline personality disorder, stick with them because they're amazing, okay? Question number 2, can you recover fully without telling your therapist everything? For example, they know about your depression and help you with that, but they don't know about your self-harm. I know mine would tell my parents if she knew, so I don't want to tell her. Yes and no. I believe fully and completely that if we want to work on something, we want to get better, we'll get better. So if you're working with a therapist and they know about your depression, I would utilize that to talk about the depressive voice or the depression. And in your mind, know that when you're talking about the depression, you're also talking about self-harm. And it kind of helps for you to integrate it into what you're working on. If we don't talk about /work on the issue, whatever it is, even if it's just in our mind, us working on it and journaling about it, then I don't really believe we can get better. But if we're working on it, which it sounds like you're definitely wanting to get better, you're working with your therapist, I think we definitely can. You don't have to tell them about the self-harm if you don't want your parents knowing right away, as long as you're targeting that self-harm urge and voice and you're finding alternatives. And you could even say, like, my depression comes in really quick and I need to come up with some different distraction tools, and just kind of working it in so that you're not actually talking about the self-harm, but you're still getting help for it. And if you haven't checked out my website, katiemorton.com, I have a free self-harm workbook on there. So download it and get started because that will help you as well. Okay? Question number 3. What do I do if I want to go back to counseling, but I don't want my parents knowing? I'm almost 18 and dealing with past self-harm. I currently have an eating disorder, although I haven't seen a doctor to get clinically diagnosed yet. This has been going on for about 3 months now. What should I do? Thank you. Okay, so I obviously, as I always state, I only know the laws in the state of California and in the United States kind of as a whole because they're very similar. But I'm only licensed in the state of California. And that's why many of you ask if I can do Skype sessions, and I technically can't unless you live in California. I can do Skype sessions in California, but I can't go out of the state because I'm not licensed to practice in that state. Or at least that's what the rules are thus far. They'll probably change over the years, but that's why I haven't opened that up yet because I legally cannot. And so, to speak about legality and our rules, once you're 18, boop, that day, that birthday of yours, boom, you're a free agent. Your parents don't have to know anything, and they actually legally can't unless you sign a release. And I would even, if you're newly 18 and your parents are still kind of like involved in the process, I would make sure when you see your therapist, you say, I know I'm 18 and I don't want my parents knowing anything about this. So if there's anything you're going to share with them, please run it by me first. I would say that because those are your rights. Now, as far as going back to counseling, if you're not 18, now therapists have the ability, I don't even know what day or what year they passed this law, but for quite a while, we've had the ability to see young clients without their parents' approval. I believe it's changed over the years. And when I first started studying, it was like down to age 12, and I think it's still 12 or 13, but we have to have a reason. Now, it's not that you have to be abused. It used to be in the past that it had to be some kind of abuse that was happening and it wasn't safe at the home, and so we would see them because something horrible was happening. But now we can see you for a bunch of various reasons, like you are old enough to participate in therapy. You can make payments, co-pays, or whatever the cost is on your own, or however you're going to pay. You pay for therapy when you come in. And also, there's a legitimate reason for your parents not to be involved. Maybe it'd be difficult for you to tell them about self-harm and you're afraid that they lash out or something like that. So you definitely have rights, and I would talk to the therapist and be very upfront about your concerns of them sharing things with your parents. And yeah, that's my word of advice, because once you're 18, you're golden. If they tell anything, they're actually in deep, deep trouble. But if you're younger, I would just be very verbal, make sure they understand where you're at, make sure they're not going to share, and if they will, they'll talk to you about it, but know that legally they can tell your parents. And that's where we're at this point. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Okay? Now here's a journal topic. It's really good, and I really like it. So thanks, Mama. It says, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And that's Albert Einstein. I thought that was so wonderful, because oftentimes we compare ourselves to other people, right? We look at other people and we're like, man, why can't I have their life? Why can't I get paid to do that? Why do they get to travel all the time? I wish I was that good at sports. I wish I could do. No. Now we're comparing like a fish to like a chipmunk. Like, fish can't climb trees. Chipmunk can climb trees. Chipmunks can't swim. Fish can swim. So we can't compare ourselves to other people, because we're all unique creatures, and everything we do can be wonderful. And I would encourage all of you this week to actually journal about this journal topic. I know sometimes I have like action steps, but I want you to consider what this means to you. How often are you comparing yourself to other people? Does it make you feel bad about yourself? And then I want you to think of the things that you're good at, that make you uniquely you. Are you really good at singing? Are you really good at music of a different sort, like playing a certain instrument? Are you good at art? Are you good at sports? Are you really good at certain video games? Do you really like to color? Are you good at collages? Are you good at painting? What are you good at? What is it? Are you really into fashion? Do you like that stuff? Are you really good at doing people's hair or makeup? Or there are a zillion things out there. So I would encourage you to journal about it, find them, and remind yourself how friggin' amazing you are, because you all are uniquely and amazingly you. I will see you all tomorrow. I'll be on the website and YouTube, so ask your questions below, as well as katiemorton.com, and I'll see you then. Bye!